Two more homicides downtown Kansas City, 13th and Grand, early on Sunday morning, and it is the top story in Kansas City as we start the week. Yesterday, Nathan Willet, councilman in the Northland, had a very well-written post on social media where he wrote in part, "Absolutely sickening to wake up to the news of another shooting between young people on the streets of our city. This happened in the heart of downtown KC. We all love this city, but we have to be real with ourselves. Do we look like a city ready for the World Cup? Do we look like a city ready to entertain downtown baseball? Let's have a city that's good for the people in it now, not for the next big thing." Nathan Willet joins us on KCMO Talk Radio. Nathan, good morning. It's good to have you here. Obviously, an outpouring of support on your post yesterday. What do you want to make sure Kansas City knows after another violent weekend in a prominent entertainment district in this town?
Well, first of all, happy belated birthday, Pete, and good morning to all your listeners out there.
Don't try to mush me up, but that's very nice of you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, really sickening, and my heart goes out to all the victims out there, and yet another example of just tragedy in our city. But we can look at 100 different strategies or tactics to combat crime. I know the mayor has proposed looking at parking lots, other different items. The thing is, Pete, if we do not get a temporary jail and a permanent jail, if we do not reform our bus system sooner rather than later, what you've seen in downtown Kansas City will continue to happen, and people know it. You talk to any police officer, you talk to any firefighter. They want a jail. They want the bus system back to where it was.
Okay, so let's talk about the jail. I asked the mayor last week where we are in the jail, and basically the answer is nowhere, if I'm just paraphrasing the long and short of it. You said they're a temporary jail. I mean, is there something that the city should be doing that should be getting considered as we await a multi-year build of a real jail downtown?
Yeah, absolutely. So the current city manager, Mario Vasquez, is tasked with looking at different sites for one, and I think this week we'll have a RFP out and results from that as well. But I tell you, Pete, every business leader has reached out to me or some of our council people privately and said that we need this to happen. They don't want, they're not seeing the mayor really lead on this too much. And they don't know what to do. They are at their wits' end on this. And so my post yesterday confirmed everything I knew. People, obviously on the Republican side or conservative are not afraid to shout out and say what we all know. But there's a lot of people who are more moderate or even progressive business leaders who've reached out and said, "Nathan, you hit it on the head. We need that temporary jail." That should be our top priority. If the mayor put all his effort into that, we would move that forward.
So what about some of these leaders? I mean, I'm thinking about the Restaurant Association. I'm thinking about the Chamber of Commerce folks. I mean, they have been for too long nowhere to be found on any of this stuff going on downtown. Where are these losers?
Well, there's a few of them who get out of the woodwork and say something, but obviously they haven't been very strong and they haven't been very vocal. And it's going to take a lot of people to wake up here. We do have hope in the city. I want to tell you, we do have hope, but we have to fix it right now. And we have the KCPD coming back. They had their largest entrance class since 2027. We have more people willing to go into law enforcement because of our pay raises and the equipment and the new support from City Hall. But we can't just do study after study on these jails. We knew prior to Mayor Lucas, his first term, that we needed a jail in the city. And they had study after study talking about the numbers it needed and where it should be located. They delayed it. Then the county reached out and with the mayor, and they said we could do a joint jail together. That obviously window never happened, and you just see something that just gets kicked down the road over and over again. And what happens is you have a culture of crime and a culture of chaos. When there's no consequences for your action, you expect to see what happened early Sunday morning all around the city. And it has over and over again. There's a reason why we just came off record homicide numbers a couple years ago. And we're continuing to have numbers that are not good for Kansas City. If we really want to get under 100 homicides in a year, obviously one homicide's way too many. But if we really want to get that goal, you would prioritize a jail from the get-go, and you would prioritize public policies that don't promote chaos like the bus system free-for-all.
Do you expect to have any support on that city council to move the ball forward like really soon on a temporary jail, especially with,
Yes.
a World Cup a year away and thousands, tens of thousands of people coming to Kansas City?
Yes, absolutely. And I do want to give a shout out to Councilman Crispin Rea and Councilman Wes Rogers, who have been leading on this issue. I just wish that they're a little bit more forceful and the timeline was a little bit shorter. We can't sit around and study everything. And we like to talk about Omaha as a similar city to us and what they did with their crime to lower it. Omaha has a jail for over 600 people if they do something wrong. We're looking at doing a jail that's only 200. We need to have more than just a space that they are wanting to go towards. So I'm liking that certain colleagues are trying to move in the right direction. It's a little bit too slow for me, and it's not the numbers that we need. If you ask any KCPD officer, they would like 500 plus for a jail.
But where would you put a temporary jail in your perfect world?
Yeah, I'd put it in an area away from neighborhoods that would be able to be secure. And I think more of an industrial type area would be good to look at. And I think I have full confidence in Mario Vasquez. And I'll tell you, we actually have a city manager who's willing to do the right thing. And he knows he has the backing of at least 8 people on the council to move in the right direction. And I think with that confidence, he's willing to stand up to the mayor who has been delaying this for a long time. You can't be on the city council and then be on the mayor of Kansas City for 2 terms and not have a jail and then act like parking lots is a problem of the city. That's not okay. It's not fair, and it's not being very real with the constituents out there.
Well, let me ask you about this. This is Nathan Willet, Northland Councilman in Kansas City, Missouri on KCMO. The parking lots, there's something that the mayor has talked a lot about here in recent days. I believe there are ordinances being proposed basically saying that if you are a company that owns a parking lot, a surface parking lot in Kansas City, basically you've got to get your own security. You got to lock the gates because now the belief is, well, people are congregating in empty parking lots. And if we just had these empty parking lots better protected with better security, these people won't shoot each other. I don't think it's that simple. Here's what the mayor said over the weekend about this.
These are preventable incidents. And in the same way that we look to crime prevention through environmental design, as simple as locking our doors, putting on exterior lighting, we need these types of places where there are consistent problems like this, consistent shooting activity, to make sure they're doing their part.
All right. Nathan Willet, what do you make of this parking lot deal being front and center?
I have a couple comments to that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, a couple comments to that. That parking lot is actually right next to a bus stop. And what happens at our bus stop spills over into these parking lots. No one wants to have a conversation of that. And you want to talk about consistent problems. We allow people who assault bus drivers who are drunk be transported all around our city. And that bus stop right there at Grand is a perfect example of that. And I wonder how those folks got there earlier in the night. I guarantee you at least a couple of them rode a bus there. And people who are, should not be in certain private property, and you trespass and you go and arrest them, where do you put them? We don't even have a jail to put them in. So let's go enforce our parking lots of private property. And what are you going to do with those folks? You can't even put them in a jail because we don't even have any space. So I don't want to propose more items out there. Parking lots enforcement might be in the top 20 in terms of strategies or tactics we can do to solve crime in the city. But if we don't have a jail and if we continue to have a bus system of chaos, it doesn't matter about that. So let's keep the main thing, push that forward, and then we can look at other strategies. I'm asking the mayor to go with me full force on this temporary jail and expedite the real jail that we need for our citizens to feel safe in our city.
Well, God willing, this will be the most recent thing that hopefully wakes up the right people down there at City Hall. Nathan Willet, Northland Councilman. Great job as always, Nathan. Thanks for being here on KCMO.
Thank you, Pete, and have a good rest of your week.
Thank you so much. Nathan Willet on 95.7 FM. You're streaming us this morning. If you're not, you should be on your Google Home, on your Alexa, or on the KCMO Talk Radio app.